So Dustin's scheduled to fight at UFC 299, and now Dustin's had quite the career in the UFC and MMA in general. Like, I would go as far as to say he's one of the greatest lightweights in MMA history, and the resume speaks for itself. Like, he's fought Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Khabib, Dan Hooker, Conor twice. You know, all these people, Michael Chandler, Jim Miller, Eddie Alvarez again. Like, he's fought a lot of people. His losses are kind of questionable, don't get me wrong. Michael Johnson early on, but that was, a younger Dustin Poirier, and Michael Johnson in his prime could catch anyone. Like, he KOs Francis Ngannou in his day, Just joking, but you get the point. So to see him go from this, and from his recent fight, he just got KO'd by Gaethje, right? And Gaethje's no joke, so there's no shame in that. That was for the BMF title. It brings a question. He's 35, right? Does he have it in him to keep on going and keep on competing at the top level? Me personally, I think it's over soon for Dustin, because at lightweight and at 35, you kind of don't want to be competing for too long, because that's where most people fold, like at lightweight. Like, that is no age to compete. That is no age to be competing at the lighter weight classes, to be honest with you. And I don't want to see Dustin keep on fighting to where he gets so much brain damage. Like, that would be terrible. Like, I don't want him to be a BJ Penn or Tony Ferguson even, who used to have the longest win streak in UFC history, and then it turned into the longest losing streak in UFC history, which is surprising. And it's unfortunate, especially for a guy like Tony Ferguson. We do not want to see Dustin come to that, like to where he's losing to Raul Rosas Jr. coming up to lightweight, we don't want that. Or Michael Johnson in a rematch. Like, all jokes aside, we don't want him to see him lose all that, because he's a guy that fought Conor McGregor twice. Well, he fought him 3 times, but the first one was when they were very young, and then he ended up beating Conor twice, so we don't want to see that. We want to see Conor McGregor come back and fight Dustin, where they're both, decent, semi-decent, and see where they can go from there. Or we can see Dustin fight, I don't know, Michael Chandler again, Max Holloway for the 3rd time, something exciting and something fun before he goes. We don't want to see him wither away, a shell of his former self. I don't think Dustin, given his style, I don't think he actually competes well past the age of 38, because I think his style relies on his boxing, and a lot of boxing, like, it relies on the reflexes a lot. And if you don't have that at the top, we've seen former boxers just crumble without the speed, without the reaction time, certain athletic ability that you would have when you're young, you don't really have when you're older. So it's important that Dustin, he gets it right. He retires when it's ready. And I think he's preparing for that, honestly, because it wasn't too long ago as to where he said he would retire if he performed really badly in this fight. And I think that's smart for him to do, because I don't think he should fight any longer. 35 is old for the lightweight division. It's not too old. You can still compete somewhat at the top. But again, he's already had 3 title shots. One was against the interim champion, not the interim champion, but like Max Holloway, which was for the interim belt, because, Khabib was suspended from jumping up the cage. And then, obviously, against Charles Oliveira was the second title, like the actual legitimate title defense. Legitimately, what am I saying? The first legitimate title defense. The first was from Khabib, and then he kind of got like finished pretty badly in both. He got tapped out by rear naked choke in both of them. Charles at UFC 269, and then Khabib in UFC 242. There were good fights, don't get me wrong, but Dustin, he only did sort of well in the Charles fight where he knocked him down. Against Khabib, he stunned him a little, he chased him, and then he gassed out, and then he eventually lost, which is obviously is not what you want to see as a Dustin fan, but it is what it is. And he came short when it really, really mattered, which is unfortunate. But hey, we all grow, we all learn, so it doesn't really matter. But again, I think he lost his last legitimate title shot, his potential title shot against Islam, when he got killed by Justin. I think Justin stole that from him, unfortunately. And credit to Justin, that was a good high kick he set up, and Dustin was doing really well at the end. He even won the round, and then obviously he got KO'd. Or at least to my knowledge, I remember him winning the round pretty convincingly. But again, that just goes to show that Dustin's not getting any younger, and he's actually slowing down. He's not really in his prime. Against Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje the first time, he was a bit more ferocious. Like, now there's been a very, very, very slight speed decrease if you watch his fights. I'm a big Dustin fan, so I would know. Like, I think he takes a bit more damage than he did before. And even in the Justin Gaethje fight, he took a lot of damage. Eddie Alvarez, he didn't really take too much damage. It was Eddie absorbing all the shots, really. But against, Justin the second time, he got KO'd stiff. Charles Oliveira, he was getting punched. Michael Chandler especially, that fight really sold it for me. I was like, Dustin doesn't seem too comfortable, even though he was blocking the shots. I feel like Dustin in the past would have countered it a bit more and then eventually got Michael Chandler down in a submission earlier on. The way he got taken down by Michael Chandler, and Michael Chandler is no joke. Michael Chandler is no joke, to be fair, so that's not surprising. But again, it just goes to show you that maybe his the athleticism or whatever you call it is slowing down in Dustin Poirier, and I think the fights he has are proof enough to, as you can see, it's not. It's not the same, man. Maybe I'm just mumbling, but it's not the same. I used to watch Dustin against Khabib even. I think Dustin, unironically, I think that's the best Dustin Poirier physically we've ever seen. Like, to keep up with Khabib, like Khabib's pace in that fight was nuts. I think that's the best pace Khabib's put on an elite fighter ever, right? Apart from RDA, but RDA is not on the level of Dustin Poirier, to be honest, or Conor, or any of these fighters we've seen. But again, that's just my opinion, right? Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Khabib, these guys have both beaten Dustin Poirier pretty hardly, right? And there's no shame in that once again, but still. I think Dustin in his absolute prime would still beat Justin Gaethje like 60 to 40%. That head kick might happen anytime because, Dustin had a tendency of always keeping that high guard, even for kicks, and that never really works, as the Weasel explained perfectly in his video. So, credit to Dustin once again, the accolades that guy has is insane. Beat Conor twice, and in both fights, he kind of worked Conor in the second one and the third one, especially when he was just landing ground and pound shots. That was unfortunate for Conor to, go out like that, but again, Dustin Poirier checked the leg kick, and then obviously Conor folded, and we deserved the full fight, another fight, and it shouldn't have ended like that. But again, that's just life. Like, shit like that happens, unfortunately, to Conor McGregor. But again, Dustin Poirier has not a long road to go in terms of competition because, again, he has to compete until he can't anymore. Against newcomers, I don't know if that's the way to go. But I don't think he's in a position to where he can call for, a super fight just yet because he just lost the KO by Justin Gaethje. So I think he should wait. I think he should wait and fight someone who's coming up, like a Max Holloway. He's not coming up, but he's coming up from lightweight, I think a rematch, especially since Max Holloway is looking bigger nowadays. He's looking more fulfilled. He's looking more stronger. So I think that would be amazing for Dustin Poirier to get that third fight in. Maybe even win, and then if he wins, go from there. Because the second fight was really, really exciting. And I know they fought twice already, but the first time was when they were babies, really. So it doesn't really matter. I want to see Dustin versus Max 3. I want to see Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier 2. Potentially Conor, Dustin 4. Dan Hooker rematch. That's a big shout. Even Dustin Poirier versus Bobby Green 2. If Bobby Green wins again. Or Jim Miller again. There's a lot of rematches that Dustin can go to. But instead he's fighting this new up-and-comer. I don't know if that's the way because this guy is dangerous. Like, as we said before. BSD is no joke. Like, this guy's a black belt in judo. Like, and I know that doesn't really seem as much, but trust me, that KO against Matt Favola, bro, that was no joke. And Thiago Moises, like, I know he lost once, but that was in 2021, and ever since then, he's improved. He's got stronger and better and faster in his strikes. Like, I would not want to mess with him, like, bro. That's what I'm saying. Dustin Poirier needs to be careful, bro. He needs to be careful, like, absolutely. He needs to watch himself, because if he loses this, he loses a lot of ground, and I think that's a shout at retirement, if you ask me, because Dustin Poirier shouldn't be losing to BSD, and I know BSD's no joke, and he's up and coming, and he's even 28, so he's about like 8 years younger than Dustin around, or no, 7 years, sorry, but again, Dustin should win this theoretically, but again, BSD's up and coming, so he should get it. He should get the W. And as for the title, right, as for the question, is Dustin Poirier done at the top? I think soon enough he will be, but I don't think he should be done just yet. I think he has a few more in him, as the meme says, He should go on, he should carry on, and he should win. And I hope he wins Saturday night. And if he doesn't, I wish him the best, because he's had a great career, and he doesn't really have anything else to do other than, I guess, drop down or drop up, That's typical, you know, when fighters are at the end, that's what they normally do. I think he can do that. But I don't think he does anything at welterweight or at featherweight, to be honest, because he's too drained there. And he's too big now. So, yeah. This has been Shadzi. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.